Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us today for the information session regarding the Luksic Scholarship at Schwarzman Scholars. My name is Gabrielle Trasadi. I'm the International Outreach Coordinator for the Luksic Foundation. And of course, we're joined here today by Jason Rathman, who is the Outreach and Selection Officer at Schwarzman Scholars. So today's event, I'll start with a short presentation about the Luksic Foundation and the opportunities that we have available. And then we'll get to the main part of the event with Schwarzman Scholars. Jason will be here to provide us with details on the Schwarzman Scholars program, the experience, how to apply, advice on the application process as well, and the life of a Schwarzman Scholar and what that looks like. And then we'll end the session with a question and answer. So do save those for the end. In terms of the Luksic Foundation, our main purpose is to empower people through training and education, and we're always at the service of Chile and Chile's development. Alongside the international education programs, we also have in service in other areas. So this deals with education, entrepreneurship, sports, as well as additional support in terms of emergencies and donations. And in terms of our story, our history in regards to international education, this actually began back in the early 2000s, during which over the course of these past 20 or so years, we've been able to implement over 30 programs within 7 different countries in collaboration, of course, with international institutions as they help us promote and carry out these programs. And we nearly have almost 2,000 scholars who've participated in these programs. And then in 2019, that's when the scholars community, I have it actually here in Spanish, I see Comunidad Scholars, was formed to offer post-program opportunities. And I'll give a bit of these benefits in a few minutes. But what are the international programs that we offer? So there are 3 types. We'll touch on the master's scholarships today and specifically dive into the Schwarzman Scholars program. But to give an overview, we have various master's scholarships. These are full scholarships to support skilled leaders and experts within their fields. They're meant to cover the full tuition fees, arrival costs, the living stipend. The idea is that you're able to go abroad and not have to worry about the financial aspect. You're able to focus on your studies and focus on the program experience, extracurriculars, etc. We also have research programs. They're essentially fellowships for academics to go abroad. And then programs that we carry out here in Chile that are more shorter courses. What's great about these is they're actually carried out in English and Spanish with simultaneous translation. And we cover the program cost for those. And then all of those, all people who form part of these programs then are invited to join the Scholars community, which is our international alumni network. So to give an overview of the scholarships that we have for master's programs, in addition, of course, we'll focus on Schwarzman Scholars today, but there are 21 scholarships available each year. These are within 8 universities and across 5 different countries, so there's quite a variety here. And the scholarships are available for Chileans and permanent residents in Chile. And as I mentioned, they include the tuition fees, arrival cost, and living stipend. And so here's just a quick snapshot of what the current opportunities of the master's programs look like, where they're located, who are our partner institutions, where in the world. You can scan the QR code that will lead you to the page, but feel free to explore after this webinar. But just to give you really an idea of where we're located in the world and where the opportunities are. And then, of course, with Schwarzman Scholars, this partnership began back in 2018. It's really a wonderful opportunity for you guys to go abroad in China and complete a master's in global affairs. I know Jason here will be able to give all of the details, but anyone who's accepted onto this program, whether they receive funding from the Luksic Foundation or not, receive full funding, full financing, which is a huge benefit. They accept between 150 and 200 students each year, and we're talking about a really global cohort. You will be going abroad with students from all over the world. That's definitely the idea of this cohort mentality. You're not alone. What's also great about the program is the classes are taught in English, and you don't need to have any prior knowledge of China or Mandarin to go abroad and experience this opportunity and participate. So there's one Luksic scholarship available each year. We're also really proud to announce that the first female candidate from Chile was selected last year, and another one has been selected this year. So that makes us, we're extremely proud to see that there's interest. And also on behalf of Schwarzman Scholars, they're also really looking forward to receiving more Chilean candidates on the program. So we do encourage and hope that you apply. And how to access our opportunities, how to access a Luksic scholarship. The first step is to research and understand the admissions and selection criteria for the programs of your interest. So if you're saying, okay, I'm interested in Schwarzman Scholars, you need to apply directly to Schwarzman Scholars. For all the programs, you have to apply to the university. The Luksic Foundation is not involved in the admission, selection, or adjudication of the funding processes. So those are the 3 steps. And then last but not least, in terms of the foundation and the support we provide, it's not just necessarily the financial support. Much like the Schwarzman Scholars program, it goes beyond the financial support that is provided. You really are receiving full institutional support by the Luksic Foundation, by Schwarzman Scholars. It's quite comprehensive. It's this before, during, and after the program where we're getting in touch with you. We want to get to know you. We'll invite you here into the office. We do a breakfast to gather all of those who are going to do other master's programs here so you get to know them. We'll get you in touch with previous Schwarzman Scholars so you can get the advice on what that program experience looks like. And then you're invited to join the scholars community, which is we have a digital platform that's available, but additionally also offer events, activities, networking. There's a post-program fund, so you can finance initiatives that you're either undergoing or want to take on after the program. And the neat thing here is that it is an international community. We have scholars previously and historically that come from all over the world. So that is it from me. This is where you can find us. I will now pass it over to Jason, who will provide detailed information on the Schwarzman Scholars program. And again, we're really excited that you're here with us today to learn about this opportunity. Oh, and I will mention at the end, it would be great if you could fill out just a small survey that we have to get your thoughts on the information session. We, of course, want to make sure that these are useful for you. So when you close Zoom, that should come up, a little pop-up should come up for you. So awesome. Thanks. Okay, Jason, I'll pass it over.
All right. Thanks, Gabby. That's, I think, a really wonderful and helpful introduction, speaking directly to the many opportunities that are available for students who are looking to engage as future scholars through the Fundación Luksic. And now I'm going to just share my screen so that we can speak directly to Schwarzman Scholars, our mission, our values, the program, and then, of course, the application. All right, so Gabby, would you mind just showing me a thumbs up if it's looking good? All right, great. So we're so delighted that you've joined us today. This is going to be a brief 101 in all that is Schwarzman Scholars. Of course, I'll end the session with other opportunities for you to engage with us and get to know the program. But here are some of the things that we're going to cover today, starting with our mission, go a bit into student life, learning opportunities in the curriculum. I'll take you on a brief tour of the college itself, and then we'll speak to the alumni network and admissions. But I like to get started with this boilerplate messaging. If we had to boil down what Schwarzman Scholars is as a mission into one sentence, we like to say that we prepare scholars to lead the future. Let's dive into it though. Schwarzman Scholars is a 1-year fully funded master's degree program in global affairs hosted at Tsinghua University in Beijing, China. We were founded by Steve Schwarzman, our namesake. If you're unfamiliar with Steve, or if you are, allow me to reintroduce you. Steve Schwarzman is the chairman, CEO, and co-founder of Blackstone, and he partnered with leadership from Tsinghua University to create a program to ready the next generation of leaders to drive change. They saw an accelerated pace of globalization and change across all fields and industries, from economics to technology to politics, as well as a gap in relationships and mutual understanding between the East and the West. And so they decided to meet this moment by creating a program to bridge this gap in relationships and understanding, to result in the first program designed to prepare young leaders for leadership and global change in the 21st century. And so what we're looking to do as an organization, as a mission, as a degree program, is to prepare you with the tools that you need to face the complexity of 21st century issues with confidence. Ultimately, though, the 11th month experience at Tsinghua is just the beginning of your experience as a Schwarzman Scholar. We are preparing a global network of dynamic young leaders who will work together to improve connectivity and mutual understanding between China, and of course, Chile and the rest of the world. We believe that there's never been a more important time to recruit and train the world's future leaders. These times, particularly in this post-pandemic era, remind us that we are far more interconnected than we've ever realized, and that global challenges require solutions and leaders from around the world who are well informed and well equipped to solve them. So the way that we do this is through our three main pillars. The first is a network of the brightest minds. During your year as a scholar, you'll surround yourself with about 150 scholars from all over the world. About 60 of those scholars come from the United States, 30 from China itself, inclusive of Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan. And then another 60 come from the rest of the world. For the past 2 years, we've had for last year and for the next cohort, we'll have one scholar from Chile represented, which is very exciting. And of course, as Gabby said, we're hoping to continue to see Chile involved and grow within the scholar community. But beyond that, that network of just the 150 scholars, you'll also be part of a residential college that includes leaders from around the world, faculty members from leading institutions, as well as a support system from Schwarzman College and the Schwarzman Scholars Foundation. The second pillar of our program is a curriculum that we say meets the moment. What that means is that it's dynamic. Our curriculum is refined each year by leading academics, and we equip you with the tools and perspectives you need to build a better tomorrow. And third, and crucially, our third pillar is immersive access to China. We want to give you a clear view of a country that is playing a central role on the global stage, a unique lens that we believe you cannot get from the outside. Our host and partner for Schwarzman College and Schwarzman Scholars, of course, is Tsinghua University. Tsinghua is the top-ranked university in Asia and was an ideal partner for Schwarzman Scholars because of its 113-year history of building links between China and the rest of the world. Tsinghua also has a reputation within China for building future leaders, which again makes it an ideal partner for us as a leadership development program. President Xi Jinping, for example, is a graduate of Tsinghua. And so when you come from Tsinghua with a Tsinghua education, particularly in spaces that involve China, it helps to establish your reputability as a future world leader. All right, now we're going to pivot from some of the high-level facts and figures about the program and its founding into the actual curriculum itself. So our program was designed by faculty from distinguished international institutions, including Tsinghua, but also Oxford, Yale, Princeton, for example, who designed the initial program to build scholars' capacities as leaders who will, throughout their careers, deepen understanding between China and other key global actors, such as Chile. The program, though, has rapidly evolved over its first few years to further match our mission. The program itself is both classroom-based, but also deeply experiential and results in a master's degree in global affairs awarded by Tsinghua University. About 60% of our credits come from intensive classroom curriculum and 40% are from experiential learning. The curriculum is unique in that it's always changing year to year. Our course offerings are getting refined. And so I always encourage students to go, prospective students to go and look at our website to see the most up-to-date class listings. But also our curriculum is unique that it's totally customizable. That you as a scholar get to select from timely relevant courses across our core curriculum. And then you get to narrow your focus on electives that in areas that interest you the most or that align with your career interests. And like Gabby said earlier, you don't need to know any Chinese to start as a scholar. Our program is designed to serve all young leaders who are looking to make an impact, not just those who have a previous background or existing focus on China. So our mandatory core curriculum covers our three main program themes of leadership, China, and global affairs. Along with the core, which all scholars share in common, is a rich set of electives, and they cover some of the most pressing issues in global affairs, mainly drawn from the fields of economics and business, public policy, and international relations. It includes topics like environmental governance, regional and global security issues, China's role in the global economy, sustainability, and in addition to the curriculum available to you at Schwarzman College, you have the opportunity to take courses in one of the other 21 English language faculties across all other Tsinghua University schools. And so you're not just limited to our course offerings, but you can take courses in any of the graduate level English faculties. Scholars are given the opportunity to work with an advisor so that you can craft a focused set of courses that help prepare you for your professional goals after the program. All of our scholars must dedicate time to study Mandarin, and we have offerings at multiple levels. Most students start in Mandarin level 1, and so if that's you, don't be worried. But we also accommodate students who, for example, concentrated on Mandarin Chinese while they were in college, have years dedicated to perfecting their Mandarin ability and are looking to professionalize it during their year at Schwarzman College. And so we support advanced levels as well. Native speakers of Mandarin have the chance to sharpen their English writing and presentation skills at the same time during the curriculum. The program ends in a capstone project, which is a core requirement for all scholars to complete the program. And you should really think of this as a project that is the culmination of your year at Schwarzman College. And you give a final presentation, essentially similar to a thesis defense of your capstone presentation for our faculty. You have three choices for your capstone. So you can do the option that best aligns with your interests, but you can do a research paper, a case analysis, or a policy analysis. And ideally, this is on a topic that is something of interest to you, both personally and professionally. Some of our capstone titles, just to give you examples of some successful ones from the past. One student wrote about US-China relations in space, emphasizing the International Space Station. Another student wrote a capstone on obstacles and opportunities for low-cost airlines in China, making a case for aviation reform. Topics have spanned the sciences, humanities, social sciences, public health. And so as long as it aligns with our themes of leadership, global affairs, and China, you should be able to get approved for your capstone topic. Some of the group capstone projects, including our case analyses, have been at host institutions around China and Beijing. We had students do a group capstone in 2021 at the Beijing Winter Olympics, which is one of my favorites, but also group capstone projects related to education technology, strategy firms, think tanks, lots of different places where you can be placed, and you would work with our careers team to find a placement that aligns with your interests. So like I said, while a lot of the classroom takes place in a traditional classroom environment, a lot of your study will also take place beyond the classroom. We believe as a program that to solve real world issues, you have to experience firsthand in real time, real life, outside of just a traditional classroom setting. So we put our scholars on the ground and out in the field so that you can understand the complexities of the world today. One way that we do that is through our mentorship program. Our program provides an opportunity for scholars to meet with leaders of various styles and from a selection of business, political, think tank, and nonprofit leaders who are based in China. They typically meet with you at least once a month. A couple of leader mentor examples that I have are Xiaoping Yang, who is the president of BP China, Jai-Chen Li, the Deputy Secretary of Li Jiang of the Yunnan province, has also been a mentor in the past. So a lot of very high profile mentors in China. We also have the deep dives, which is a mandatory 4-credit graded course, part of the curriculum that all students need to complete. And this is a week-long faculty-led trip across China, getting you outside of Beijing, helping you build context about another important part of the country. We also have student-led deep dives that can take place within China, but also outside. And these are also in interests spanning business development, state-led development, political shadowing, and the increasingly popular rural development choice. Finally, we have internships as an optional component of our program. Internships are something that you can find collaboratively with our career office or on your own. Some of our hosts for internships in the past have been General Electric, Johnson & Johnson, Teach for China. There was a student who had a marketing internship there. A student did an internship with TEDx Beijing. But again, this is an optional part of our curriculum. And so for some students, it's only 1 year in Beijing. There's so much opportunity that an internship is not how they decide to spend their time. But if this is something that is important to you, the program will support you in finding an internship and making it manageable in line with the curriculum. When it comes to career development, we like to say that Schwarzman Scholars is a catalyst for your professional career, both during, but also before and after the program. Our career team works with you before you even come to Beijing, but then, of course, during your time at Tsinghua and afterward to identify your next steps, and we support you to achieve your professional goals. Our employers span the public, private, and nonprofit NGO sectors and do vary year to year depending on student interests. There's only 150 students in each class, which means that you're never anonymous as a Schwarzman Scholar. You get a lot of personal, individualized attention, and we employ a coaching model to help you find your first destination, but also your second, third, fourth, fifth destination, and so on after graduating. The vast majority of our scholars prepare for full-time professional work after they graduate. It's about 70% for the last 5 years. Another about 15 to 16% pursue continuing education, whether that be further language education, another master's, an MBA, a JD, or a PhD program. And then a smaller group of scholars go into the military. They start their own businesses. Some of them are writing books. They're preparing for graduate school. So a lot of different opportunities and paths that are pursued by our scholars, but always with the support of the Schwarzman Scholars team. Now we're going to get to everyone's favorite part of the presentation. I'm going to show you Schwarzman College itself. The college is state of the art and was one of the first LEED gold certified academic buildings in China. And when it was built, it was actually named by Architectural Digest as one of the 9 best new university buildings in the world. I actually have been at Schwarzman Scholars now for just 1 year, and I'm about to visit the college. I'm based in New York City, so I'm not based in Beijing, but I'll be visiting the college for the first time myself at the end of this month. And so feel free to reach out to me after the session and in July and ask me how it went. I'll be able to show you some of my own pictures too, if you'd like to see more beyond this. And so one element that sets Schwarzman Scholars apart from other competitive master's programs is this element of residential study. What that means is that all scholars are sleeping, studying, dining, socializing together at Schwarzman College. Our visiting faculty members also live at the college, and they make themselves available to you outside of the classroom for a walk around campus to discuss something that you were talking about in a class, or a more casual beer at the pub. We believe that this in-style residence creates an incubator for young leaders from all over the world, across industries, so that you're not only learning in your classes and on your deep dive trips, but also at all times of day. Schwarzman College is an integral part of the Tsinghua University campus and is your home for your year at the university. So again, this is your home base. It's also where you're studying, your classes take place here, but of course you have access to the resources at the wider Tsinghua University. So this is the front courtyard of the college. Here you can see that every scholar has their own private dorm room. This is, again, fully included in the scholarship for every scholar. But while you have your own private room, you do share a common area with 7 other students. So our common areas, our suites, are hubs of 8 students, and room assignments are designed to actually maximize the international and professional diversity among our scholars. So, if you decide to apply, are admitted and enroll in Schwarzman Scholars, I can almost guarantee you that you would be the only Chilean in your suite. You will, because of our enrollment numbers, definitely be with a student who is Chinese, also a student who is American, but we always try to maximize the citizenships represented in these suites, but also academic backgrounds and professional interests. We believe that 21st century issues are not solved in silos, the way that we put disciplines in academia, like international relations or global affairs. But instead, we know from the experiences of leadership in the 21st century that that leadership necessitates a global perspective that is inclusive of all disciplines and industries. And so you're going to be sharing living space and study space with students in backgrounds in public health and medicine, in law and political science, in computer science and engineering. All of these fields will contribute to your own understanding of the world so that you're better prepared to solve emerging issues. Here is one of our classroom spaces, again, designed to facilitate collaboration and conversation. This is our campus library. And here is our auditorium. This is one of the largest spaces on campus that can accommodate all of our students. Throughout the year, our students attend lectures from luminaries spanning government, business, and the nonprofit sectors. We invite them to campus and they come because they want to speak directly to you, future world leaders. We've had, for example, for our fireside chats, we've had Christine Lagarde, the managing director of the International Monetary Fund, come to campus. We've had Madame Liu, the former vice premier of China, come to campus. Very high profile leaders who are eager and excited to speak with you. And then what you can't see on the other side of our auditorium, where we host our fireside chats, which is why you may see the fireplace on the back of the screen, is our campus pub. And so after a more formal session like this, you can expect to go on with your students, faculty members, and leaders, empty out into the pub to have a drink of your choice, for a heated discussion about, or invigorated discussion about something that you learned or heard in the session. Here's our forum. This is sort of your main entry to campus. Students on this day that it was photographed, it must have been a more formal day on campus, because you can see students wearing their Schwarzman ties and Schwarzman scarves. When you're a Schwarzman Scholar, when you matriculate, every student receives a purple tie or a purple scarf. Purple is our color. We have a very specific purple, Schwarzman purple, in addition to the Tsinghua purple that is slightly different, but those are the colors of our program. All right, now we're going to go briefly into our alumni network before we talk about admissions. So as I've alluded to throughout this presentation, the program and your time in China is just the beginning of your experience as a Schwarzman Scholar. And of course, if you are a recipient also of the Luksic scholarship, you also have that community on top of the Schwarzman Scholars community to empower you and prepare you and support you after you graduate from the program. But our alumni team is personally one of my favorite teams that I work with. The Alumni Association strengthens the bonds of our global network and provides Schwarzman Scholars with unique enrichment opportunities, both socially, but also culturally and intellectually. Some of our programming is academic in nature. In partnership with the National Committee on US-China Relations, for example, last year, the Alumni Association hosted programs on US-China relations in Washington, and on ties between Silicon Valley and China in the Bay Area. This past year with the Rhodes Trust, we also hosted our first ever joint alumni event on the theme of ethical leadership, hosted at Oxford University last fall. Some of our programming has been cultural. We did an art gallery tour in Beijing last year. In addition to some of the intellectual engagement, we have some of our traditions. One of my favorites is the Lunar New Year dinners that we host all over the world. Schwarzman Scholars will fund any group of 3 or more alumni to get together during the Lunar New Year period, just to have a meal together, to reconnect. And this is really where you get to know scholars from across cohorts, beyond the 150 that you study with at Schwarzman College in Beijing. Okay, we're going to conclude the session today by going over admissions. Again, the Schwarzman Scholars Program is a comprehensive scholarship which allows us to select the most promising candidates from around the world without consideration for their ability to afford a year in Beijing. The scholarship covers tuition, it covers your housing, covers your meals, travel, there's a living stipend included, and of course, flights to and from your home city. So what are we looking for? The eligibility, you may notice, is quite short. We only have 3 basic qualifiers for our eligibility. So I just like to go through them one by one. The first is an undergraduate degree. What you might notice from that is what is missing. We don't require an undergraduate degree in any one particular field. We have scholars that are coming to us from fields that are related to global affairs, such as international relations, political science, economics, for example. But we also have students who are joining us with undergraduate degrees in law, in environmental science, in civil engineering, various fields and disciplines that are preparing scholars to be leaders in the world. And so there's no hierarchy for one degree type over another. We also do admit scholars who already have advanced degrees. And so if you have a master's degree, for example, already, you're still eligible for the program. The second part of our eligibility is our age criteria. You have to be at least 18 years old and cannot be older than 28 years of age when you start the program. And so our next program, our application will be due, we'll get into this, for the US and global applicants. The application is due September 12th. You would apply for the program by this September. You're notified of your decision by December, January, and then you don't start the program until August of 2025. And so you have to be younger or at least 28 years old by August of 2025. The third part of our eligibility is English proficiency. Students can demonstrate their English proficiency either by being a native speaker of English or by having studied at an institution where English was the language of instruction for at least 2 years at the undergraduate or graduate level. And then finally through an English language test, such as the TOEFL, the IELTS exam, or the Cambridge exam. Finally, after this eligibility, we get into what are we actually looking for in our applicants. There's no hierarchy to these traits, but perhaps one of the most important ones, if I had to decide on one, is demonstrated leadership. I always like to encourage students to stretch what the word leadership means, because it can be different in different cultural contexts. And for students with different identities, leadership can mean different things. What's important is that you have a clear sense of what leadership means to you, and that you can show us how you've demonstrated leadership thus far throughout your life. If you're curious about some of the leadership profiles of scholars who have been admitted to the program in the past, I encourage you, go to our website, go to our scholars page. You'll see all 1,000 plus of our scholars who've been admitted and enrolled in the program in the past. and we maintain short biographies for our students for the upcoming cohort and for the current cohort. And so for that would mean you can see cohort 8 and cohort 9's biographies. The other key traits that we look for, exemplary character. What that means is that we just like to understand your values, what drives you. You know, it's essentially understanding the why behind the leadership that you've demonstrated. Academic aptitude, of course, is an incredibly important consideration. Tsinghua is one of the most rigorous universities in China and also the world. And so we want to make sure that we're preparing you and that you are prepared to handle a rigorous curriculum. That said, academic aptitude is not limited to just your transcript, your university transcript, and your GPA. That also includes your intellectual curiosity and capability that is demonstrated through your essays and can also be spoken to via recommendation letters, for example, from people who know you really well. We're also looking for intercultural competency. When you join Schwarzman Scholars, you are going to be part of a cohort of perhaps the most diverse cohort that you've been a part of. People who come from all over the world, have different experiences, who have studied in various institutions. For some of them, they have tremendous international experience already. For others, it is their first time leaving their home countries. You do not need to already have international experience to demonstrate intercultural competency. You just need to show us that you have worked with people who come from different backgrounds than your own in some capacity. And that could be through extracurriculars, that can be through professional clubs, that can be through your studies, for example. There are so many ways to demonstrate this. This sort of goes hand in hand with the next key trait, open-mindedness. We're looking for students who are looking to engage in China, who are looking to absorb information, but also to contribute your own voice. You know, when you're a scholar, you're one of 150. You're part of a choir, but that doesn't mean that we don't value your voice. That's part of why we admit you to the program, is because we want you to have a seat at the table. We want your perspective represented. And then finally, I like to close with entrepreneurial spirit. This doesn't mean that you already need to have founded a business. Many of our scholars have before they start the program, and if they haven't before, many choose to start an entrepreneurial venture after they finish the program. But it does mean that you need to show evidence that you have revised, renewed, reinvigorated programs that you've been a part of, that you've taken an entrepreneurial lens to become an entrepreneur, perhaps within organizations that have already existed, or you've created organizations of brand new based on a problem that you witnessed in your community or an opportunity that you saw. And so these are just some of the key traits and eligibility that we like to see throughout all of the application materials that you submit. We have an online application that is free, so you don't need to pay anything to apply. Even if you're not planning to apply in this cycle, I always encourage prospective applicants to open an application this year, start it, see what is involved, so that you can best prepare yourself to apply once you're ready. A lot of it includes typical application materials that you would see for an American style master's program, spanning from your resume, CV, to a statement of purpose, to 3 recommendation letters, for example. But then also there are some Schwarzman specific prompts. We ask you to tell us about your leadership roles, any recognition or awards that you've received in the past. We have a couple of shorter answer questions that are program specific that you'll have to answer with your application. And so my advice is start the application early. Contact your recommenders as early as possible to provide them with due notice to write a recommendation on your behalf, and share with them some information about the program, about those key traits that we're looking for, so that they can speak to them directly. All documents, including those recommendation letters, need to be submitted by the deadline in order for your application to be considered complete. This year's deadline for the US and global application that our Chilean citizens apply through is September 12th, like I said. After that, we review applications. in September and October before inviting our finalists to interview with us in New York City, London, or in Beijing. And then decisions are released in December or early January. We do have an FAQ page that is very helpful on our website that provides answers to frequently asked questions regarding the application, regarding the review process, and also the interview. Our interviews are panel style and include leaders spanning a diverse set of industries and backgrounds. Past interviewers have included General David Petraeus, former Prime Minister Brian Mulroney, Ambassador Caroline Kennedy, Lisa Borders, the CEO of Time's Up, former WNBA president, and we've also had Ariane Huffington. And so these are high-profile leaders who are choosing what we know will be the next generation of future world leaders in their positions. So here, before I close, are just some of the key dates. What you'll notice is that there are two sets of deadlines. The top deadline are for our Chinese applicants. Again, this includes Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan. That process for cohort 10 has already ended. Interviews will take place for our Chinese finalists in early July in Beijing. But again, our Chinese finalists are notified with the rest of our scholars. In mid-April, the US Global application opened and will close September 12th. Like I said, interviews will happen for US Global candidates in October and November before the next class is announced in December, early January. And something that I did not mention earlier, but think is important to include, is that the program also supports your flights and hotel accommodation for finalists who are interviewing. And so if you are selected to be a finalist, that is not something that you have to worry about. Finally, I'll go into some opportunities to learn more about the program before we'll have about 10 to 15 minutes dedicated to questions. I have to plug the website. The website, schwarzmanscholars.org, has really essential information. You can dive deeper into some of the topics I talked about today. Go into the class listings and find ones that resonate with you. Look into which faculty are currently teaching at the college and what classes they're offering. You can see some videos from our scholars themselves, hear directly from them versus someone who worked for the program. Really valuable insights that are crucial to having a contextual and holistic vision of what Schwarzman Scholars offers. If you have any questions after you visit our website, feel free to send me an email at admissions@schwarzmanscholars.org. If you tell them that you are from Chile, they will send it to me so that I get to see it directly. And so don't be afraid to do that. But someone from our team will get back to you as early as possible. Of the social media channels that you see listed at the bottom, my favorite to direct students to is our YouTube channel. We're always adding new videos. It is just a great way to get a feel for the college, just because so many prospective students can't actually visit Schwarzman College in Beijing before they apply. So it's just a great way to get to see it and get to hear from our scholars themselves. But of course, you're also welcome to follow us on LinkedIn, on Instagram, wherever you consume your social media.